My name is Bhekinkosi Moyo. I am based at the West Business School. I run a Center on African Philanthropy and Social Investment, but I'm also a faculty member at the business school. I teach philanthropic studies. I'm here in Dakar to work with my colleagues, Trust Africa, Wings, AVPA and others to validate studies that have been conducted in West Africa, focusing on the ecosystems and platforms of philanthropy in this particular region. And so part of what we want to come up with here is a narrative of what philanthropy looks like in the region, but secondly, beginning to come up with solutions that different sectors and different institutions will need to implement in order for us to understand the value that philanthropy brings to development. Okay, so CAPSI is the Center on African Philanthropy and Social Investment. We established this center to bridge the gap that exists between researchers, academics, and practitioners on the first hand. Secondly, we wanted to sculpt new leaders in the sector who are driven by ethics, but also the need to transform their society. And number three, we wanted to develop a cohort of new academics and researchers in the field of philanthropy and social investment. And this, we are doing it to change the narrative on African philanthropy and development. As you would know, philanthropy has always been recognized and potentially seen as a discipline of those from the West and not something that Africans themselves are participants on. Africans have been seen and viewed as recipients of philanthropy as opposed to be active participants. And so CAPSI is seeking to change that narrative through research, through training of academics. We've got programs that range from short courses, the postgraduate diploma, masters by research and coursework, and doctoral students as well. But we also do research across the continent. As we speak, we have done research across 35 countries. We also do advocacy convenings where we bring theorists and practitioners together through webinars, annual conferences, among others. So that's in a nutshell what CAPSI does. Yeah, so from the very beginning, we were very clear that CAPSI would be a Pan-African organization, both in terms of orientation, but also in terms of programming. So in setting it up, the consultations involved us going throughout the continent, collecting views from different schools, different researchers, different foundations, and the result was a Pan-African organization. So we are based in South Africa, but our work is Pan-African. But secondly, even in terms of the issues that we focus on and the kind of partners that we work with Pan-African institutions like Trust Africa, among others, because we really believe that philanthropy is a Pan-African paradigm. If you go back to how the OAU was set up, which is now the African Union, one of the key documents that they produce is a 1975 declaration called the Monrovia Declaration. And that Monrovia Declaration becomes the paradigm through which you can see development in the continent, but is framed from the perspective of self-sustenance, unity, solidarity, reciprocity. These are key features of philanthropy. And so if you're speaking about philanthropy, you've got to go back to issues of sharing. You've got to go back to issues of unity. You've got to go back to issues of solidarity. And as you know, when South Africa became the last country to be, to be independent, all leaders met in Addis Ababa. And when they met in Addis Ababa, the question that confronted all of them was, what can we do as a Pan-Africanist movement to liberate South Africa? And so for me, it's always important to always go back to those values that our forefathers put in place in thinking about development in the continent. And so I see philanthropy as a paradigm for development. And if you look at Pan-Africanism and you look at philanthropy, the features are more or less the same. Why do I think it's important to join forces with other actors? Yeah, it's important because no one entity, no one organization, no one individual can solve the problems of the continent. The problems of the continent require a concerted but coordinated effort, and so it means you've got to join forces with each and every person, and every intervention is important. There is no intervention that is smaller or bigger. All interventions are different, but they are all important in order to resolve the challenges of the continent. I think the space for young people in philanthropy has actually opened up. We always talk about, let's have young people take part in activities, but we don't articulate how. But in this case, philanthropy is something that is done by everyone, from a youthful age all the way until you die. You are a recipient of philanthropy, but you are also a philanthropist yourself through your time, through your resources and everything. So the young people must actually be the ones that are leading in different spaces, and philanthropy provides for that, partly because of its nature. Philanthropy is risk-taking, philanthropy is flexible, philanthropy is nimble, philanthropy is creative, and these are the qualities that you find in young people. So for me, this is not even a question. The issue is, at what level do we get young people to fast and effectively join forces with everyone in this space? No, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be back in Dakar to begin with. I used to live here. I really loved this place. This is one of the melting pots of culture and the arts, and I think it's important for us also to bring the issue of the arts into philanthropy, because if there's one way in which people understand each other is through art, music, and all of that. So I love to be back here in Dakar, but I also love the fact that we are here as a group of institutions who are dedicating resources to understanding knowledge, because data is important, but secondly, creating linkages between the various structures that exist in the ecosystem of philanthropy. So I think as we go forward, I would really urge the partners and everyone else who is on the sideline to actually join in making sure that the ecosystem works for the development of the continent.